"What do you mean the bride fired us the morning of her wedding?" Graham Adler stared at the email glowing on his laptop screen. He read it again, then a third time. This was the fifth major complaint in 2 weeks from the same location, Store 17, one of the 20 catering kitchens he owned across the state. He rubbed his forehead and leaned back in the chair of his corner office. He had bought the chain 8 years ago when it was on the brink of closing down. After rebuilding it from the ground up, hiring the right district managers, and developing a strong training system, things had run smoothly. Until recently. Lately, emails like this had started to pile up, clients canceling events, cold food arriving late, staff not showing up. At first, he chalked it up to post-COVID burnout or turnover. But this wasn't just burnout. Something was off at Store 17. His district manager, Louis, had brushed off the complaints. "It's just growing pains," he'd said over the phone. "We're short a few people, but the new head cook's got it under control." Graham didn't buy it. He'd never met the new head cook. In fact, he hadn't stepped foot in Store 17 since the remodel 2 years ago. None of the current staff knew his face. He kept a low profile on purpose, especially since most people assumed the company was just another corporate chain. So he decided to see for himself. He showed up Monday morning at 6 a.m. with a fresh shave, short brown wig, fake glasses, and a new name, Greg. He wore the standard black kitchen polo and non-slip shoes like everyone else. The catering manager, a sharp-eyed woman named Melissa Evers, barely glanced at him when he walked in. "Greg, you're the new trainee from temp services, right?" "Yeah," he nodded. "I worked kitchens before, just looking to get back into it." "Cool, we're slammed today, follow me." Graham kept his head down as he followed Melissa through the narrow kitchen. The place was bigger than he remembered, rows of prep tables, ovens, racks of cooling trays. But it was chaos. Dishes piled in the sink. Someone had dropped a tray of shrimp on the floor and just left it there. A guy in the corner was chopping onions with no gloves on. Melissa waved her clipboard. "We've got 2 weddings and a corporate brunch. Just do what the head cook tells you." "Who's that?" She pointed across the room. "Him, that's Travis." Graham turned. Travis was a tall man in his late 40s, wearing a grease-stained apron and a Bluetooth earpiece. He barked orders while flipping through a printed spreadsheet. His arms were coated in raw meat juice up to his elbows. "Hey, new guy," Travis snapped. "You know how to plate?" "Yeah." "Then get to the cold table, don't screw it up." Graham kept quiet and got to work. Within the first hour, he saw things that made his stomach twist. Travis picked up raw chicken with bare hands and didn't wash them before touching a veggie platter. A woman asked if she should label the gluten-free trays and Travis just grunted, "Nah, don't waste time." He even dumped a half-full tray of pasta that had been sitting out all morning back into the hot box without reheating it. "Don't we need to retemp this?" Graham asked carefully. Travis rolled his eyes. "It's fine, clients don't know the difference." Graham didn't say another word. By lunch, he'd watched Travis wipe his nose with the back of his hand, sneeze into a sink, and yell at a line cook for asking about hand-washing procedures. Melissa seemed too busy to notice. She was running back and forth, checking orders, answering calls, trying to keep things together. Graham caught her in the dry storage room while loading boxes. "Hey, can I ask you something?" She looked up. "Shoot," does Travis always. "You know, handle food like that," she sighed and looked around before lowering her voice. "Look, I know it's not perfect, but we're short 3 people and he's the only one who can run the line without falling apart. I've filed reports. Nothing happens." Graham frowned. "Really? District says he's fast, and clients care more about the food showing up on time than how it's made. So I just keep my head down." Later that afternoon, they delivered the food to a wedding venue across town. Graham rode in the back of the van, watching Travis smear sauce on trays with unwashed hands. When they arrived, the bride came out to check the setup. She was young, smiling, clearly trying to enjoy her big day. Then she opened one of the trays, sniffed it, and her face changed. "This smells." "Off," Travis shrugged. "It's fine, that's just the seasoning." No, it's not, she said, backing away. This is supposed to be dairy-free. There's cheese in this. I mean, we ran out of the other stuff. It's close enough. The bride's face reddened. I told your company my sister has a severe allergy. Are you serious? She stormed off toward the venue manager. Travis muttered, overreacting, happens all the time. Graham clenched his jaw. He'd seen enough. The food wasn't just sloppy, it was dangerous. He planned to stay another day, but now he wasn't sure he could. Back at the kitchen, Graham quietly asked Melissa for the employee schedule and the health inspection reports. She looked confused but handed them over. That night in his hotel room, he stared at the papers. 7 health code violations in 4 months. 4 staff complaints. No action taken. He looked at himself in the mirror. Maybe I trusted the wrong people for too long. Tomorrow he'd stay one more shift. Then it was time for the truth. By 5:30 the next morning, Graham was already in the back corner of the kitchen, peeling vegetables in silence. He wore the same black polo, kept his glasses on, and kept his voice low. No one questioned him. That suited him fine. Today, he wasn't just looking, he was listening. The kitchen was quieter than the day before, only 4 people on shift so far. A younger guy named Rico worked beside him, slicing cucumbers with fast, clean motions. He was maybe 19, maybe 20, and moved with the kind of quiet focus that came from someone trying not to make mistakes. You new here? Rico asked without looking up. Yeah, just getting the hang of it. Stick to the prep table, man, less yelling that way. Travis, Graham asked carefully. Rico gave a short nod. He's been here a while, long enough, runs this place like he owns it. Don't cross him, especially when he's behind. Graham didn't respond. By 6:30, the kitchen started to fill. Melissa arrived, her hair tied back tighter than yesterday, clipboard already in hand. She looked tired but determined. 2 others came in behind her, a middle-aged woman named Carla and a tall man named Zaid, both wearing matching polos and aprons. They looked around at the sparse staff and exchanged a glance. Where's the rest? Melissa asked aloud, not directing it at anyone in particular. Dana called out, Carla replied. Sick, again. Melissa sighed and tapped her pen against the clipboard. Okay, we'll shift things. Rico, stay on prep. Carla, you're on hot line. Zaid, help with loading later. We've got a retirement luncheon and a school fundraiser today. Travis gets here in 20. But Travis didn't show up in 20 minutes, or 30. At 7:15, he finally walked in, still wearing the same stained apron from yesterday. He smelled faintly of cigarette smoke and sweat. Don't say a word, he barked as he passed Melissa. I was dealing with supplier crap. Bread's late. You could have texted, she said, not raising her voice. We were about to reorganize the line. I'm here now, that's what matters. No, communication matters, she replied more firmly. I've got clients calling by 8. I'll handle the food. You handle your clipboard. Zaid muttered something under his breath and turned back to the walk-in fridge. By 8:10, the kitchen was heating up. Graham found himself assigned to the cold station again, assembling trays of finger sandwiches, fruit cups, and salad boxes. He worked fast but kept one eye on Travis, who was now shouting over the hood fan at Carla for not seasoning the rice fast enough. Do it like I showed you. Not your way. Mine. Carla didn't answer. She just adjusted the burner and kept her head down. Rico leaned toward Graham. He's worse when the orders pile up. One time he threw a spoon across the line because someone used the wrong dressing. He ever get written up? Rico shook his head once. Melissa tries, but Louis always sides with him. Says he gets results. A quiet buzz from Melissa's phone cut through the noise. She answered quickly, then turned around with a new urgency. Change of plans, she called out. The school moved up their pickup time by 45 minutes. They need food by 10:30. Travis threw his spatula onto the counter. That's not possible. They've got over 100 kids waiting. We promised delivery by lunch. I haven't even started the chicken for that. Then start it. Melissa's tone didn't rise, but it hardened. I'll get someone to help you. I don't need help. I need people to stop messing with my timing. Graham stepped forward. I've done school trays before, I can portion and seal. Travis stared at him for a second, then waved him off. Fine. Just don't screw it up. Graham moved quickly, grabbing gloves and a stack of containers. He worked beside Carla, who gave him a grateful nod. You've got a clean touch, she said quietly. Most guys rush this part, just want to get it done right. They worked in silence for 10 minutes, then Carla asked, What you do before this? Ran a kitchen, Graham said. Small one, family stuff. You'll do fine here, she said, then glanced toward Travis. Just don't let him see you outshine him. The delivery van rolled out at 10:15 with Melissa behind the wheel. Travis stayed behind, muttering about wasted time and burned seasoning. He shoved a stack of trays onto a cart, then turned on Rico. You call this cut uniform? These tomatoes look like they were sliced by a blind raccoon. They're within spec, Rico said, not looking up. I checked. You checked. You think I care what you checked? I told you how to cut them. Do it again. You didn't even give me the specs. I don't need to. I'm the spec. Travis grabbed the cutting board and slammed it down in the sink. The tomatoes scattered. Water splashed. Do them over now. Rico stood still, hands at his sides. Then quietly he said, I'm not doing that again. They're fine. Then pack your crap and leave. Melissa stepped back into the kitchen right at that moment. She'd returned earlier than expected. What's going on? Your boy here thinks he knows better than I do. Melissa looked at the scattered tomatoes, then at Rico's face. Rico, go take 10 outside. I don't need a break. Take it anyway. Once Rico left, she turned to Travis. You throw product again, you're out. Don't threaten me. I'm not. I'm setting a line. You cross it again, you're done. Travis stepped toward her, lowering his voice. You want to run this place without me? Go ahead. Good luck surviving the weekend. You're not the only cook in this city, she said, unmoved. You're not untouchable. He stared at her, jaw tight, then stormed into the back storage. Graham watched the entire thing unfold, heart thudding. He wasn't sure what was more disturbing, the way Travis acted or how normalized it seemed to everyone else. No one looked surprised. No one said a word. Later that afternoon, Graham found Melissa outside by the loading dock, checking receipts. She looked up as he approached. Got a sec? He asked. Sure. I saw what happened earlier. You did the right thing, she nodded once. Doesn't always feel like it. Why hasn't he been fired? Because Louis doesn't want the disruption. Says we can't afford to lose him until after the summer season. I've submitted reports, documented everything. But unless someone above Louis steps in, it doesn't go anywhere. Graham kept his voice steady. What if someone above Louis saw it firsthand? She looked at him, confused. I mean, if someone higher up had proof, from the inside. You're not just some temp, are you? He shook his head. She didn't say anything for a few seconds. Everything you've seen today, she said finally. It's not new, I believe you. I've had 3 people quit in the last 6 weeks because of him. One of them was 17. She cried in the break room after he called her useless. Why didn't I hear about that? Because Louis said it wasn't worth escalating. Graham looked down at the list in her hand. You've been holding this place together with duct tape. She gave a short laugh. More like masking tape, he nodded once. That ends tomorrow, she raised an eyebrow. I need you to do something, he said. Call everyone in for a full morning shift. Everyone's scheduled. I'll handle the rest. She looked at him closely. You sure about that? I am. She didn't smile, didn't thank him, just nodded once. I'll make the calls. The next morning, Graham arrived before sunrise. The kitchen lights were still off, the parking lot mostly empty. He sat alone in his car, watching steam curl from his coffee cup. His hands rested on the steering wheel, unmoving. In less than an hour, he would no longer be Greg, the quiet trainee. Today, he would speak as the owner of the company, and there would be nowhere left to hide. By 6:30, nearly every staff member on the schedule had arrived. Melissa had done exactly what he asked, called in the full morning crew. Even Carla and Zaid, who weren't originally on shift, were there. Rico showed up with a stiff posture and eyes that avoided contact. Clearly, yesterday's outburst still clung to him. Travis, as usual, was late. Not dramatically, just enough to assert control. He walked in at 6:40, slinging his apron over one shoulder and heading straight to the sink without acknowledging anyone. Melissa met Graham's eyes across the kitchen. He gave her a single nod. "Everyone," she said, raising her voice over the low hum of prep work. "Before we start, there's going to be a short meeting in the front room, 5 minutes." Travis didn't look up. "We're behind already." "You'll want to be there," Graham said, stepping forward. Travis turned, eyes narrowing. "Why would I care what the new guy has to say?" Graham took off his glasses and pulled the wig from his head. The room fell into silence. "I'm not the new guy," he said. "My name is Graham Adler. I'm the owner of this company." Zaid's knife paused mid-slice. Carla's hand froze around a mixing bowl. Rico looked like he'd been jolted out of a daze. Melissa didn't move, just folded her arms and waited. Travis blinked, then gave a short laugh. "You're kidding." "No," Graham said. "I've been working here for 2 days, watching." "Listening?" Travis's expression shifted, but he said nothing. "I've seen expired product being used, unsafe food handling, verbal abuse, staff being berated for asking basic questions, deliveries sent out with missing or mislabeled ingredients. I've read the complaints, but seeing it firsthand." "That's different." Travis's jaw clenched. "You don't know what it takes to keep this place running. You come in here for 2 days and think you get it." "I know exactly what it takes. I built this company from 2 employees and a rented commissary kitchen. I know what good operations look like. I also know what negligence looks like. You've been warned multiple times. You ignored every single one. You're going to fire your best cook because some kids can't handle a raised voice." "No, I'm firing you because you're a liability," Graham said. "Your food safety practices are indefensible. You've endangered clients, disrespected staff, and refused to follow basic standards." Travis stepped forward, shoulders squared. "You'll regret this. Nobody's going to cover what I do." Melissa moved to stand between them. "We'll manage. You think these rookies can replace me?" "They already have," Graham said. "You can collect your final check from HR. You're done here." Travis looked around the room, waiting for someone to speak up. No one did. He snatched his apron from the counter, muttered something under his breath, and walked out. The door clicked shut behind him. Graham turned back to the staff. "I'm not here to make a scene, but I need to be clear. What happened here wasn't just about one person. It was about a system that let it happen." No one said anything. "I should have stepped in sooner, that's on me. But from today forward, things change, starting now." He looked around the kitchen. "We'll be holding a full retraining on safety and food handling. We'll rotate schedules so no one works more than they should. And I'm bringing in a regional operations lead from another district to support Melissa while we rebuild this location." Melissa looked at him, surprised. He nodded once, confirming it. "I know some of you probably don't trust me yet." "That's fair. I'm asking you to give me the chance to earn it." Carla finally spoke. "If you're serious about fixing this, then we're with you." Rico nodded. "Long as we're not ignored anymore." "You won't be," Graham said. "I'll be back next week, in person." He didn't stay long after. He knew when to step back and let the team breathe. As he left the kitchen, he passed Rico leaning against the prep table, finally looking relaxed. Melissa caught up with him in the parking lot. "You didn't have to come here in disguise," she said. "But I'm glad you did. I needed to see it for myself," he said. "You held this place together longer than anyone had a right to expect. I almost left last month." "Why didn't you?" "I guess I hoped someone up there still cared." He looked at her and said, "They do now." She didn't smile. Just nodded once and walked back inside. Graham stood in the lot, watching the kitchen lights flicker behind the windows. There was still a long way to go. But today, at least, the rot had been cut out. Tomorrow, they'd start rebuilding. One clean tray at a time. 1 week later, Graham returned to store 17 this time without a disguise and without secrecy. He didn't wear a suit, just a clean polo and jeans. He walked through the back entrance just after 7 in the morning, clipboard in hand, and paused at the threshold of the kitchen. It was quieter than before. Not silent, but focused. No shouting, no clatter of trays hitting the floor. The air smelled like fresh herbs and sautéed onions, intentional, not accidental. Melissa stood near the walk-in fridge, reviewing the order list with Zaid. She turned when she saw Graham and gave a short nod. No fanfare, just acknowledgement. "Morning," she said, "glad to be back." She gestured toward the prep line. "We're down one person today. Dana left last week, decided food service wasn't for her, but we've adjusted." "Anyone new?" "One. Came from store 4, solid experience. I had him shadow Carla yesterday." Graham moved through the kitchen slowly, taking in the changes, labels on every bin, digital thermometers clipped to the prep stations. A whiteboard above the sink listed cleaning rotations, updated every 2 hours. Small things but meaningful. He found Rico loading trays into a transport crate near the back. "How's the week been?" Graham asked. Rico looked up, then wiped his hands on his apron. "Better, still hectic, but nobody's throwing cutting boards." "Good," Graham said. "You staying?" "For now. I want to see how this place runs when it's not in survival mode." "Fair." Rico pointed toward a clipboard on the wall. "That's the new prep guide. Carla built it. Cuts down the guesswork." Graham walked over and scanned the document. Clear instructions, portion sizes, allergen flags. It wasn't flashy, but it was tight. Carla had clearly put in time. He found her near the ovens, checking temperatures. "You wrote this," she glanced at the clipboard. "Yeah. Figured if we're gonna take food safety seriously, we need something better than memory. It's good work. I've had it in my head for a while, just never had someone ask for it. You have now." She gave a small nod and returned to her task. Later that morning, Graham gathered the full team in the front room. Shipping had just gone out for the brunch delivery, and they had 40 minutes before the lunch rush prep began. He stood near the dry storage racks, arms crossed loosely. "I want to talk about what happens next. Not what went wrong last week that's been addressed. I want to focus on what we're building now." No one interrupted. They waited. "First, we're bringing in a certified trainer from our central team. He'll be here twice a week, mornings only, to help reinforce the new systems. He's not here to police you, he's here to support consistency." Zaid asked. "You mean like shadowing?" "Sometimes, yes, but mostly coaching. Think of it like quality control that works with you, not over you." Melissa added, "We've also moved to a rotating shift lead schedule. No more single point of failure. Everyone gets trained on line management and we rotate leads weekly." Carla raised her eyebrows. "So we're cross-training." "Exactly," Graham said. "We want redundancy that doesn't rely on one person burning themselves out." Rico leaned forward. "Are we keeping the old client load?" "For now, yes," Melissa answered. "But we're shifting bookings so we don't stack major orders on the same day. 2 large events max, not 3. No more overpromising." Graham continued, "Also next month we're piloting a recognition system. Not employee of the month stuff. We're talking real, peer-nominated bonuses. If someone steps up, their team notices and they get rewarded." Carla asked. "What kind of reward?" "Cash," Graham said. "No pizza parties, $50 for each recognition, max 2 per month per location. That money hits your paycheck." The room shifted slightly, people straightened, exchanged looks. Not excitement, cautious approval. Melissa stepped in. "And we're reviewing compensation tiers company-wide." "That's a longer project, but it's happening." One of the dishwashers, a quiet man named Lewis, asked, "Are you staying involved or just visiting?" Graham answered without hesitation. "I'll be here once a week, randomly, no warning. Sometimes I'll help on the line, sometimes I'll just watch. Either way, I'm not disappearing again." Rico said, "So if something goes wrong, we go to Melissa." "Yes," Graham said. "And if it doesn't get addressed, you come to me." Zaid crossed his arms. "What about Louis?" "He's been reassigned," Graham said. "Different region, different oversight. I've got someone new stepping in to oversee this district, someone who understands what it means to earn trust from the floor up." He didn't elaborate. He didn't need to. The message was clear. After the meeting, the team returned to their stations. No celebration, no applause. Just the quiet, steady rhythm of people getting back to work. Graham stayed for the next 4 hours. He didn't hover, didn't correct. He helped portion salad bowls, ran trays to the van, and cleaned the walk-in with Lewis. At one point, he and Melissa reviewed the week's incident log, not a single escalation, just 2 minor equipment issues and 1 late delivery due to traffic. Before he left, he found Melissa in her small office, organizing invoices. "You're holding this place together," he said. "I'm not the only one. No, but you're why it didn't break," she leaned back slightly. "You're not what I expected in an owner, neither are you in a manager." "I'll take that," he paused. "You think we can keep this momentum?" "If we keep listening, yes." He nodded once and turned to go, stopping at the door. "One more thing," he said. "Next quarter we're reviewing all manager salaries. You're overdue for a raise." She didn't thank him. Just said, "Good." Graham walked through the kitchen one last time before stepping outside. The team moved with quiet efficiency. No one rushed, no one shouted. Every tray that left the building today would be clean, safe, and correct. He got into his car, started the engine, and waited a moment before pulling out. The damage had taken time to spread. The repair would take time too, but the foundation was strong again, not because of policy, because of people. And this time he'd be watching.